up, everybody? Ghost Girl 007 here, and today's video is going to be episode 7 of Haunted Reads. Today's episode of Haunted Reads, for those of you that are new to my channel, we're reading this magazine. It's a haunted magazine. It's called Haunted History, Real Life Ghost Stories and Supernatural Events. And right now in the magazine we're reading about hotels. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The Crescent Hotel in 1886. The Crescent Hotel opened as an upscale resort in Escura Springs, Arkansas. Its construction had been a massively expensive undertaking, accomplished at a fairish pace. During the building, an Irish stonemason allegedly died when he fell through an unfinished floor, but the work went on. Escura Springs was a popular destination at that time, as its namesake waters were said to have special powers, but as that proved to be untrue. The patronage of the town and the Crescent dwindled after the turn of the century. The hotel opened during the off-season as the Crescent College and Conservatory for young women. It did attract well-to-do young women for a number of years, but then that too began to dry up. The Crescent struggled, opening and closing until 1937, when the infamous inventor, swindler, and self-styled doctor named Norman Baker turned the Crescent Hotel into a health resort he called Baker's Cancer Curing Hospital. He claimed to have the cure for a whole host of ailments, cancer among them. He revived the rumors that the springs had healing powers, and he did indeed attract sick and desperate people from across the country, sapping them of their money. He put on a show of treating this one-time owner of the Crescent Hotel had an extensive history in vaudeville radio and scams, but no actual medical training at all. When he owned a radio station, he railed against organized medicine on air, calling it a corrupt business that wanted to make money more than it wanted to help people. Ironically, that's exactly what Norman Baker wanted for himself, though he championed himself as the savior of the common man. Before he owned the Crescent, he had a traveling show in which he pretended to cure a man of brain cancer. And he even had another hospital in Iowa. His first so-called miracle cure was nothing more than watermelon seeds, corn silk, alcohol, and other utterly useless ingredients that he would inject his patients, giving them nothing but false hope and pain, all while draining them of every cent he could. And this is what he looked like. That's very bad. Patients without actually providing any. I'll start back to here. He put on a show of treating patients without having actually provided any genuine medical care. Paranoid, he installed bulletproof glass in his office at the hospital. By the time he was arrested for fraud, he had billed his sparing dying patients for nearly $5 million. After that, the hotel saw a multitude of owners and restoration projects until Marty and Alice Ronite bought it in 1997. They fully restored it to its former glory, making it a popular destination once again, due in part to its reputation as being one of the most haunted hotels in the country. The ghost of the Irish stonemason Michael makes his presence known in room 218, where he turns the lights on and TV on and off, pounds on the walls, and even reaches out of the bathroom mirror. A gentleman in Victorian garb has been seen hanging around the lobby, the bar, and even the rooms, watching people sleep. Sometimes he'll slam doors or shake a guest awake. People have also seen a nurse pushing a gurney, carrying a corpse down hallways, usually the one that leads to what was once the morgue, before vanishing into thin air. A spirit calling himself Theodora tells... A spirit calling herself Theodora tells people she's there receiving treatment for her cancer, and then does her own vanishing act. She's also been known to tidy up her old room, 419, even pack up for guests staying there. Dr. Ellis, also of the hospital years, appears dapperly dressed near the elevator, where you can sometimes smell his pipe smoke, and of course, there's the spirit of Norman Baker himself, wearing the white suit with lavender shirt and tie he was so fond of in life. Now we're going to move on to murder houses. That's what we're about to read next. I'm going to read this. There are some houses that have seen things no home ever should. Once peaceful, turned into slaughterhouses, where unspeakable acts of evil were carried out by strangers, by loved ones, or by entities unknown. Victims of such extreme and unexpected acts of violence are believed to have a hard time moving on from this world, becoming trapped in the places where their fates played out, and perhaps reenacting them again and again. Sharon Tate's house. The murders of Sharon Tate, who was just a couple weeks away from having a baby with her husband, director Roman Polanski, Robish, I can't say some of these names, so I'm going to skip them, and hairstylist Abigail Folger Harris to the Folgers Coffee. Okay, I see what's going on there. Coffee Empire. And Stephen Parent, a young man who was visiting the house to see its caretaker, were so gruesome and brutal that they shocked even the seasoned homicide detectives that arrived at the scene. That scene of horror would sweep the nation as the details of the murders unraveled. Charles Manson was a cult leader of a family of followers who believed he was Christ, and so would carry out any orders he gave them, no matter how gruesomely or insane. On August 8, 1969, he told one such follower, Charles Tex Watson, to go to a house on Celilio Drive in Los Angeles and totally destroy everyone in it. As gruesome as you can, and that's just what Watson did. Fellow murderer Susan Atkins said she killed Tate because because we wanted to do a crime that would shock the world, that the world would have to stand up and take notice. Watson took fellow followers Atkins, Patricia Kornwinkle, and Linda Caspian, I think that's how you say it, with him to the house. Manson had told the women to do as what Watson told them, and they did not disobey. The quartet arrived at the house after midnight, but once on the property, they encountered Stephen Parent. Watson slashed, shot, and killed Parent for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He sent Caspian to keep a lookout at the estate's gate, then went into the house with Atkins and Kornwinkle. Once inside, they made the four people staying at the house, Tate, Sebring, Folger, and Fareski. I think I said that name right, I'm not really sure. I'm probably butchering these names, but we'll just give it a go anyway. They made them gather in the living room. They tied Tate and Sebring together by I'm just gonna say that. Sebring protested how roughly they were treating Tate, and for this he was shot to death. Folger and Fareski tried to escape, but both were caught. Fareski was beaten and shot, while Folger was stabbed to death. Fareski autopsy revealed 51 stab wounds, 28. Tate, who was pregnant, we'll skip that, as asking to be taken hostage so she could have it. The deranged murderers would have none of it, however, and she was stabbed 16 times. At some point, Caspian, after hearing the terrifying, agonizing screams coming from the house, came to the group and tried to cut the murders short by telling them that someone was coming. It didn't work. After everyone was dead, the word pig was smeared on the front door of the house in Tate's blood. The following night, another group of Manson followers continued their murderous spree, killing grocery store Esquilino something and his wife Rosemary. Don't know if I said that right. Manson and his deranged cult of followers were arrested in October. Caspian exchanged her testimony for immunity, but Manson, Atkins, Watson, and Kornwinkle were all convicted and given death sentences. In 1972, California banned the death penalty, and their sentences were all commuted to life in prison and life or death. Since those terrifying events committed by some of the most infamous killers America has ever known, the Cielo Drive house has been torn down, but a new one was put up. The current owner, David Oman, swears that Tate and some of the other victims are unable to move on from their tragic and grisly ends. Even before the house was complete, construction workers heard disembodied voices and footsteps and felt chilled air blowing down their necks. Once the house was complete, Oman began having his own paranormal experiences. He once woke up to a full-body apparition at the foot of his bed, gesturing towards the driveway. When he later saw a picture of Sebring, he recognized him as the man from the apparition. Objects moved and fall over on their own. Once blood-red stains appeared on a woman's dress without any apparent cause. Oman has even heard Tate whispering to him, I just want you to know we're here. I'm going to show you some of these pictures. Let's go back. So this is some of the pictures they showed. This, I think, was what the house once looked like, or maybe it's, and this is Charles Manson. And this is some of these were the victims. This is Sharon Tate right here. I think this was Sebring. That's what they look like. And these are some of the people involved. This is down here at the bottom is Charles Tex Watson. This is Charles Tex Watson, which he was also involved, I think. Yeah. Now we're going to move on to the next story in the magazine. Is the Villisca Axe Murder House. Villisca, Iowa was a sleepy town where everyone knew one another and hardly anyone locked their doors at night. So when the Moore family and their 2 guests were viciously murdered with an axe by an unknown assailant, it rocked the town to its very core. This bizarre and brutal mass killing started not long after midnight on June 10, 1912, when an unidentified predator walked into the back door of the Moore's home carrying an axe. The axe belonged to Joe Moore, and the killer likely found it in the yard by the low light of an oil lamp. The deranged murderer crept past a room where 2 little girls, Lena and Ina Sterlinger, were sleeping over as guests. He, the killer, is presumed to have been male, softly climbed the stairs and went into the bedroom of Joe and his wife, Sarah Moore. Heftering the axe over his head so high it scraped the ceiling, he brought the flat side down on Joe. I don't know why this is so detailed. With any luck, Joe died instantly. The killer then struck Sarah, likely before she had even woke up. The killer then went into other upstairs bedrooms where the 4 more children, Herman, age 11, Mary Catherine, age 10, and Boyd, age 7, and Paul, who was just 5 years old, slept. He must have done his monstrous work quietly, as there were no signs of struggle. It seems as though he was able to kill each person without waking any of the others. The murderer then went downstairs and delivered killing blows to the others staying at the house. Though the killings were done, the murderer was not. He went back to each and every victim and brutalized them once more. We'll just put it like that, with the axe that none of their faces were unrecognizable. He then covered their heads with sheets or clothing. He went around the house covering the mirrors. He drew a blow of water and washed his hands. He then vanished into the night, never to be caught, perhaps hoping a train, perhaps quietly returning to his home in town. Today the Villisca Axe Murder House is known to be heavily haunted. It's been restored to exactly how it was in 1912, and people can tour the house and even stay overnight. Martha Lynn, the current owner of the house, says the guests report that they play with the children, they hear voices, they get pictures of anomalies, and 2014, one such guest suffered a self-inflicted stab wound to the chest while he was alone in one of the upstairs bedrooms. Shortly after midnight, the alleged time of the murders, must have been recorded on night vision cameras. Things move on their own. Disembodied voices and screams ring out, and flashing flashlights apparently turn on and off. If you ask the ghosts to prove they're there, with so much paranormal activity reported by so many, it's easy to see why this house has a worldwide reputation for being haunted. And I guess these are the people that were involved. Not the people that did it, but the people that were pretty much killed. And I'll show you and this is what the house, the Villisca Axe murder house, looks like. So that will be the end of the video today. So if you like to see more videos like this, then like and subscribe and comment. And until next time, everybody, stay creepy, guys.